Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mr. Riley coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side. Right now on the West Side, it is the cold side. So welcome to the show. Check it out. In this video, we're going to recap everything from the team, how they played on on Friday against North Hollywood, and we're going to preview the next game against Eagle Rock. So after the intro, we'll go ahead and connect with Coach Smith. And of course, welcome to another edition of This Week in Pali Football.
Hey, win on me, win on three, ready, 1, 2, 3. Win! Oh, yeah! Stop playing with a P! 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 Stop playing with a P!
Some call it the gridiron.
Nice route, way to skim it.
Others, 100 yards of pain.
Too much.
We just like to call it football.
Football.
With Facebook James.
Football, baby.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Facebook James coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast. Of course, it's the West Side. So check it out. We had a wonderful game this past week against North Hollywood. They were 11-0. But guess what happened? That blue machine, they don't want no blue machine. Look, the blue machine went through and just mowed down everybody on that field this past Friday night. So just so ecstatic, so happy for the boys. And I was telling Coach, I thought it was the best game that they played all season. I mean, they played in all cylinders. Special teams was in there a little bit. Definitely offense and defense. I mean, just how they were able to stop, the running. They run the wing T. And, our guys, our defensive guys that stood up on business. And, they did not allow their primary runner to get his average, which is 192 yards or 182 yards, whatever the case might be. He only had 82 yards. So, shout out to the defense. And, of course, shout out to the offense for putting those points, 56 points on the board. Super, super happy, super awesome. And now they get to continue playing in the playoffs. And now we are at the semi-final part of the bracket. And so without further ado, we're just going to bring in my favorite head coach for the Pali Football Dolphins, Coach Dylen Smith. What's going on, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing well, man. Like I said, I'm excited, and I'm, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I kind of like our chances. But, I know North Hollywood, they ran that wing T, man. How were you guys? Let's just go ahead and talk defense, right? But first of all, congratulations, man. Wonderful game you guys played. What are your thoughts on how well balanced that the Dolphins played this past week against North Hollywood?
Thank you. Now we just really with our energy and practice all week. It was weird because obviously we're a spread team, and when we play against wing teams, our offense and defense don't really get to practice together. So it was kind of a weird being on one side of the field, mostly with offense, and then really on Thursdays when we kind of get together I could kind of see what the defense is doing. So Thursday I was really paying attention to the game plan that Coach Beck put together, and I thought it was amazing. Just really shutting their main guy down, getting, shooting the gaps, making sure we were on the puller's hips and not letting them get free. And our energy overall was amazing all week long. Just, kind of looking over and seeing how the defense was practicing. They were practicing fast. They were loud. They were getting after it. And Friday, our energy all day long was amazing, from lunch to walkthrough to pregame, and even coming out at halftime. I'd never seen the team's energy like that. And I always tell them play full 48 minutes, and that's exactly what they did.
No, they came out, intense. I know we lost the coin toss, so North Hollywood elected to receive, I believe, to begin the game. And, right away, I mean, just our defense was, on point. I mean, they contained their primary runner. They did not allow the guys to kind of get loose. And we knew that they were going to, of course, run the ball. But I think as the game continued to go on, they had to move away from the run and had to throw. And so, prior to this game, their average, passing per game was like 50 yards. And so, I knew that our guys were able to get in there. And so, just super happy, super excited for those guys and just put in that hard work. So let's go ahead. I want to talk about the defense first because, with that wing team, man, just, it's kind of hard sometimes to tackle. What would you say was, or who would you say was like, really on it throughout the game, just being consistent with making sure that, their runners, their running backs did not get open or, clogging up the middle. Who would you say, was kind of stepping up for the Pali football team on defense?
I would say the whole D line. It's very hard. Excuse me. It's very hard to go 50 plays just in a scrum like that, And I shouted him out last week, but Adrian, our D tackle freshman, who stepped up in a big time playoff game. I mean, he's amazing, and just having him for the next 3 years just makes me feel good. But really, the whole D line, they stepped up. They were putting pressure on the linemen pulling, which let the linebackers kind of run free. And Jake was hitting holes. Cash was hitting holes. Connor, he was stepping up. He plays kind of in space, but he was, always in the right spot. But the D line, just the way they worked, the way they put pressure on everybody, making everybody else being able to tackle was huge. And then Shiloh, who came back, who's our running back, we put him in a D line thinking we can get a good push. He's a heavy kid, so we wanted to get some pressure up the middle and just put more beef up front. And he did a great job with only like 2 days of practice. So that whole D line, and shout out to Coach Love, Coach Julian, for getting them ready.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Shiloh, because he was a part of the team last year and kind of, stepped away from Pali. But then, I was kind of excited to see him, on the sidelines, earlier in the season. I was like, oh. And then I really didn't realize it was him until I asked him. I was like, okay, you were a part of the team. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, Mr. Ryan. I was like, oh, okay. So I already knew that, he's a big presence in the backfield, but to see him on defense and kind of see how big and stocky he was, I was like, okay, big boy's going to put in some work. And it looked like he was getting loose as well, making sure that, the runners were, coming up the middle. He was ready for those dudes. He was ready. So I'm excited, just to see what he does. And then you also put him in at his favorite position, running back. And so he kind of got loose with that. So I'm happy to see him back. And he probably should have left in the first place. But
he never left the school. He never left the school. He was he has some he has some injuries that he was dealing with early in the season. So
gotcha.
He came late.
Okay, and you know what? You're right. I'm thinking about another player who we had who wore 15.
Yes, he left. Yes,
there we go. All right, come on, get it together. But no, it was just happy. I was just happy to see him and just the enthusiasm that he kind of brought once he got in the game on both offense and defense. And so we have a lot of stats over here. So let's go ahead and kind of go down the list. Some of the usual suspects, like you said, Jake, Cash, Kenneth was in there. And then you talked about Adrian Romero, freshman. He was in there for tackles. Nico Townsley. So it looks like everyone was. If you were on the field, you're definitely a part of a sack, or at least or not a sack, but a tackle. But you got at least a half a sack, or not sack, tackle, or you got one by yourself, or you got a half. So, shout out to the defenses being ready, and just I know you're happy about the way they perform, and hopefully that'll continue as we move into our next game against Eagle Rock. But let's talk about the defense as well, man. I mean, I'm sorry, the offense. So, if we go back up top, or max preps, where we kind of get all of our stats, 56 to 21, you see the breakdown. Pali 7, 14, 21, 14, total of 56. And then, we kind of allowed them to get 7 points each quarter for a total of 21. So we were on, we made our presence known. We played hard. We played fast. And one thing, and I know that you can appreciate this stat right here, on both sides of the ball, 3
Yes.
penalties for each team. And this week we did not have to play against the referees and the teams. I mean, how you kind of feel about, just being able to play high school football and not have to worry about somebody else other than another team have influence on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the game flowed a lot better. Just, it's hard to get a rhythm when you get a good play or you run 2 plays and then there's a flag, you got to come back. Um, it was a clean game, and we really, really focused on the penalties. Regardless of if there was penalties or not, the last game, 21 penalties is a lot. Even you take away half of those penalties that weren't, 10 is still a lot of penalties. So we really want to focus on the penalties. The kids were doing up downs for every time they flinched or held or anything. So I think they got the message. So we really focused on cleaning that part up. Throughout the year, we cleaned up certain penalties, but this week we really want to clean up every mistake. And even the refs told me before the game, they said, we don't like to throw penalties. We will if we have to, but we want to let you guys play. And I think that's best. There wasn't any – there was one that was really bad with Jake's hit. I thought was clean. But for the most part, and that's probably where that fit, that's 15 yards. So 2 for 20, really, if you take that play out. There was a few PIs I thought they could have called, but it didn't affect the game. As long as the penalties aren't affecting the game, let the kids play. And as you can see, the game was fun. It's exciting. Even when they went into their spread, they were scoring and moving the ball. So it just makes for exciting football when you're not having a flag every other play, and especially when it's not even a flag. Just let the kids play.
Absolutely. And then, I did want to ask you about, how they kind of switched. They had to switch, especially in the second half. They had to switch from the wing T to the spread offense because obviously nothing was really working for them, going up the middle. And so, and it speaks to the defensive scheme that you guys put together. They were potent, high scoring, averaging almost, I think it was like 400 yards per game,
Yeah, rushing.
a little bit more, right? So, we know that they had to make some adjustments because of how awesome our defense played. And so, again, just hats off to you guys making the adjustments, last week as you practice. And I'm glad to hear that, you kind of had the kids work during the week to, hey, like, look, we got to clean this up. We got to do some up downs every time y'all, make a mistake because, we don't want those same mistakes in practice gonna happen in the game. So I'm excited that you guys kind of put your mind together and had the kids kind of, think about the mistakes they were making in practice so that they won't happen during the course of the football game. So you're looking at first downs, able to get 23 as opposed to 18 for North Hollywood. We talked about the 3 penalties each team. Penalty yards, 35 yards as opposed to 15. Awesome. And then the time of possession, for us, 16:30, and then for them, 25.1. So, we play hard and fast. And of course, they were trying to, get up and down and march up and down the field, but our defense had a little bit better thoughts. They had more thoughts about that. And then I'm looking at this right here, Jack Thomas, 374, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, which wasn't really an interception because it was a tipped pass in the end zone. So I really wouldn't call that an interception. But again, let's talk about, I hate each week to give, but 3-4, man, I mean, that means you put together an awesome offensive scheme. Just kind of talk about what you did and what you wanted the boys to do with their defense based on the film that they sent over to you guys.
Well, I always tell the kids, take what the defense gives us. If they're playing off, take the short passes. If they have five in the box, which means they only have four down linemen and one linebacker or two linebackers, the rest we can run the ball. If they want to blitz us and play cover zero, let's go over the top. So we really watch a lot of film and see what they give us. If we see cover zero, I tell Jack, you have the green light to check out of it and call what you feel like is going to work. So I don't know if a lot of people notice that he'll look at the defense and read it. He'll come up to the line, he'll check, and put us in a better position. A lot of times I'll have a script. I just go down my script. If it's a run play, he feels like we can't run the ball. He'll check out of him to a good pass. So he does a great job. He's only thrown, I think, 5 interceptions this year. Like you said, that one wasn't his fault. I think there was another game. It wasn't his fault. So he's only really made 3 mistakes. So, he really puts the offense in a good position. He'll run the ball when he needs to. We give him a lot of options, and he picks the right one most of the time, and he runs with it, throws the ball where he needs to, and he just moves the offense, great.
Yeah, I was even going to say, on the one touchdown run that he had, I mean, he had plenty of room when he ran on the right side. I mean, it was just like Moses parting the Red Sea. I mean, it was just like no defenders, and he was able to pull it down, caught his own number, and run into the end zone. So, looking at the rushing yardage, Harrison Carter again doing his thing. He had 97 yards, but a lot of that was on that 82-yard run to begin the game. I think was it a return all the way back, or was it? I feel it was a offensive play or pass or something out the.
That was the first play. It was the first play of the second half. It was a run play.
Yeah. So 82 yards on that play. Jack again. Shiloh was in there trying to get busy, and then Devron Kearney again, 7 for 15. And then you look at some of the receiving. Good to have King back. I know he wanted to make an impact, not being able to play last week. And then Henry, Harrison, and then even Michael. Got the touchdown at the end of the game. The kids went nuts, and that's good to see. Because that's a guy who's seldomly used, and he was able to get a touchdown in a playoff game, no less. So. Hats off to him. But I want to go back to number 2, because number 2 showed up again. And I think you said he's leading the team right now with receptions for touchdown receptions.
Yeah, he has 13 receiving yards. Receiving touchdowns. Henry's second with 10. And I believe Harrison has 8, and then King with 6. So they're in a competition. It's funny, on the sidelines on Friday, Harrison was joking, don't put Max back in. I don't want him to score another touchdown. I have 13. He has 12. So there's some friendly competition between the receivers, which is good for us, because when they get the ball, the first thing they think is end zone. So
yeah. And that's a good way to think, especially if your blockers are able to get the blocking up front so that they can make something happen. They got legs, they know how to run. And so, Harrison, King, LeHenry, Max, I mean, all those guys, and even, Michael, he got open, so it was, and Augie too, just a wonderful, well-played game. I think you guys only punted once, if I'm correct.
One time.
Only one time. And so, I was just so excited. I was trying to contain my emotions, because I was, it was chilly out there. It was cold. But these boys, despite the cold weather, they showed up, they stepped up, and, they kind of showed out. And so you're looking at some of the receiving yards for North Hollywood. Omar Muhammad was their guy who, he was just a phenomenal player, but we were able to shut him down, and not only him, but the rest of the team. So, man, I mean, where do we go from here, Coach? I mean, we have another wonderful opportunity to play in the semifinals. How thankful and grateful are you to being able to continue to play? Probably the last, not probably, we're the last Western League team to remain in the playoffs. And now it's just down to the 4, right? Eagle Rock, Pali, Kennedy, and King Drew.
Right.
We got 4. Just kind of talk about being grateful, and especially with what you went through last season and how that kind of played out against Gardena last year?
Yeah, every loss, I always tell from last year, I always tell the kids this is a redemption. So this playoff run is a redemption from last year with Gardena. We felt like we should have won. We had a lot of opportunities to win that game, and we just didn't. And the kids were like, they don't want to have that same feeling after that Gardena game again. So the kids is really just working hard to really win their last game, like Coach Henry always says. So, we're this close, and I tell the kids we're this close. We have a chance. Let's keep this energy up. Let's be detail oriented, and we'll get there. We have one more game, or we're hoping for 4 more games after we win the championship. So, I think the kids really have that confidence and feel like we can actually do it. I don't really think they felt that in the middle of the season. But I think once we got close to the playoffs and they saw what happened at Southeast, we won a close game finally. And then this last game where we just, blew North Hollywood out, they're starting to get that feeling like, oh my gosh, we're this close. We can actually do something here. So I told them since the first day of spring, we have something special going on. We just got to believe it and we got to work for it. Nobody's going to give us anything easily. So that's why I'd harp on practice, because we have to practice harder than everybody else. Everybody's gunning for us. We won league last year. We were this close winning an open game. And kids, teams are not going to just lay down for Palisades. We have to work harder than everybody else to, get that trophy. And I think this Turner finally realized that.
Yeah, no, man. I'm just, now, to tell you the truth, 11-0. I was like, okay, they 11-0, they got the wing T. But then, again, when I looked at the stats, I was like, okay, I knew it was going to be close. I didn't know it was going to be like, in all intents and purposes, it was kind of like a blowout, because I'm sure they thought they were going to score more points than what they did, and then, they scored at the very end of the game, which gave them, 21 points, but, for me, it was still kind of like a blowout, because you put out 56 points, and you're the visiting team, who, they're 11-0, they hadn't lost anybody. So for me, I was just like, it was in the back of my mind. But now, after seeing what they're able to do now, I'm like, nah, they need to go ahead and just, do what they need to do with Eagle Rock. And so let's kind of transition over to Eagle Rock. And, I know, I think we were talking before, they play a similar offense to what you guys play. So let me close out some of these tabs real quick. We don't want to see J.J. Watt's face on here. So both teams, 10-2. Right, so we know that they both played hard. The game is at 7:00 at Eagle Rock, and here we go. So you see some comparisons right there: points for, points against. You see the scoring averages per game. So Palisades 11 points, Eagle Rock 16. Right, and you go back the other way in second quarter, 3 for them, 12 for us. Go back to them, 9.5, let's just call it 11, and then 9 points for us, and then 14, and then 6 points for us. We're looking at 40. They're looking at 35. So, again, if I'm looking at these stats, okay, we got a little edge. But then, again, you drop down. You still got to play the game. You're looking at some of the team comparisons, rushing yards per game. Pali has that. Passing yards per game. Pali has that by a small margin. Receiving yards, Pali has that by a small margin. Total amount of yards per game, we have that. Tackles, they don't have that recorded for Eagle Rock, but you can see there's a lot of comparison. So, again, this has a potential to be another close game. How or what kind of adjustments will you make on the defensive side of the ball to help our guys kind of get the advantage? And then we'll talk about the offense in a moment.
Well, defense, we just got to put more speed on the field, just to match up with theirs. We got Ricardo playing corner this week, and Jackson on the other side. So I feel like those are two corners who could shut down their outside guys. Tavion's been playing great all season long, and Jaden at both safeties, and then Connor playing underneath with linebackers a little bit. So I feel like our scheme, our personnel is going to be matched up very well with their speed. They like to throw the ball deep. So we just got to, we need guys on the field that can be ball hawks and just go get the ball when it's up in the air. So I feel like I feel like we'll be able to shut them down a little bit.
And then on
They really only have one. I'm sorry. I feel like they have one receiver. I think he has 1,000 yards receiving. So we really have to focus on that guy. The other guys, they catch the ball. They average, about 40 or 50 yards per game. But if we get shut down, their best receiver, Jonas, I think we'll have a good chance.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now and have it up on the screen. 138 yards per game receiving, and so we have so many weapons. So I don't know if they have more weapons than we do, but we have King, we have Harrison, we have LeHenry, we have Max, and so the ball is evenly distributed. And to your point, Harrison and Max are talking about don't put him back out there because he's going to get the the season. So you got that. We got folks. We got ball hogs who want to go after and get the ball and score that touchdown. So for them to have maybe one or two, it's just important for our defense to really focus in and play how they need to play. And I'm sure they realize how important this moment is. I know we put a lot of pressure on our kids, especially during this time, because we want to continue, playing in the playoffs. So this is just one game that we focus on one game season at a time. Of course, we want to think and think big about the championship, but right now we just need to focus in on Eagle Rock. And then offensively as well, just kind of talk about, without giving up too many of your details or about the schemes you're going to play. What kind of adjustments will you make, knowing that they also play like a spread kind of offense? What adjustments will you make for our guys, for Jack and the rest of those guys coming out the backfield? And because we do have a high-powered offense who can score just about any time they want to.
Well, without giving up too much, I'll just say we're definitely going to take what they give us. So I watched film all day Saturday, all day Sunday, probably about 10 hours worth of film, just sitting there with my laptop. I was laying in bed with my laptop, making notes. So I watched about 6 games of theirs and just broke it down. And I feel like we can exploit, the areas that they leave open. And, working with Jack, put in a couple new pass concepts that I think will help against their defense. And I think you'll see more of Shiloh and Deveron and Harrison this game. I feel like we could run the ball a little bit this week. So I think, passing-wise, we could put up the numbers. I don't know if we will just based on the scheme, but I think the rushing yards will go up a lot this week. That will help us. And if they adjust, we have the ability to adjust as well. So it just depends what they give us, and we'll just exploit exactly what they give us. So the beauty of the offense is we can adjust to whatever defense we see and exploit that and, put up 40 points a game. We've seen all type of defenses, and nobody's really been able to slow us down all year. So that's the beauty of that. Unless we play on Fairfax's field, then they slow us down a little bit. But other than that, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. No, man, like I said, we have a 3 or 4 headed monster, on the corners, being able to receive with King to meet, 4-headed. You put Max in there. So you got King, LeHenry, Harrison, you got Max, every now and again you get Augie in there, you get Adrian, you get 88, number 88 out on this is never, I won't say Ricardo. Okay,
Ricardo,
there you go. So you got some guys again who can go after it, and so now the beauty is because now you can kind of balance that out with your running backs. You can have a Harrison, you can have a Devron, you can have Shiloh. So you got kind of a balance of folks who can get the job done for you. And so I know that you are going to set not only you and the rest of the coaching staff, you guys are going to put, play with what they give you, and you guys are going to put the boys in the best winning position so that they can be successful and, ultimately get this win. Because, we realize it's, you win, you continue, you
Yep.
lose,
Go
you're
home.
done. When we don't want to, I know some of the boys have been talking about, I want this, I want to, I want some jewelry, I want some bling. Well, here's the first road to it, or just continuing down this road of winning. And to your point, winning the next 4 games is very vital. Maybe if we win tonight, or not tonight, if we win on Friday, and then if we go ahead in the championship, handle business, then maybe there's a state invite as well that we, that way they can continue to have some fun and continue playing throughout, through the Thanksgiving weekend and beyond. So we'll see. Man, Coach, I think, we kind of covered it all, I think, in about 30 minutes tonight, man. Is there any other details that we need, any injuries for our team?
We're fully healthy. Connor came out the game late, but he's totally fine. He practiced today, so he'll be good to go Friday. Other than that, we are all go. So it's been a while since we've had 2 straight weeks where everybody's fully healthy, and it shows in practice when everybody's there ready to go and not sitting next to the trainer all day. So it totally shows and translates to the game. So we are ready to go. I'm looking forward to it. Excited, a little bit more nervous probably than I was last week, but I always coach and play better when I'm more nervous. So
that's good excitement. That's good excitement. Especially when you got the same old gear on, so
Absolutely.
just don't change nothing. We
I'm
can
not
change.
changed.
Yeah, you don't change nothing. Just just wash and dry it, and then sport it on Friday, and we'd be good to go. So again, the game is at Eagle Rock. We want everyone to come on out, support, and I think we had a pretty nice crowd, seeing that we had to travel, over the hill, down the woods, and to Grandma's house we go. The long traffic. I think my commute was about an hour, and I just took the streets all the way from Inglewood. So Waze got me there. My wife wanted to be there at 5:30. I think we left like around 4:18 or something like that. And it wasn't a bad drive. It was nice, but we weren't stuck on the freeway that long, so that was a good thing. And I'm sure I heard you guys left early as well. Are you planning to do the same thing this week to make sure that you get there on time so you guys can stretch and warm up and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, I thought it was good. We left at 2:00. Got to the restaurant about 3:15. Left the restaurant about 4:30ish, and then got to the field about 4:40. And then the kids were, loose. They were warmed up. We had a nice little warm room. We got to sit in, and I thought getting there early was perfect for us because we weren't rushing. Everybody got to warm up, stretch. We had a walk through when we got there, so it's going to be the same exact schedule. We're probably going to leave about 1:45 this week. Get to the restaurant, wherever we eat, have a nice little time and do the same routine again. So, you always want to keep the same routine, eat at the same time. We eat at 3:00 every week, so don't want to change that. Then do a walkthrough at 5 and kick off at 7. So, as long as we have that routine going, I think the kids really feed off of that.
Absolutely. And then, I like the way that you guys came out, because usually the home team will come out and hop on the field and kind of stretch and warm up. Mm-hmm. You guys were out there before North Hollywood. And for me, that kind of, I think it helped set a tone, at least in my mind anyway, just to, lock in and focus and, get ready and prepare to go to war against these guys. And so they came out. They weren't as big and, I don't want to say rough and tough because, we just won. You're right. It was a much smaller team than I'm used to seeing, especially on a playoff situation. I know we have, we already have a large team, but then we brought a couple of people up. And so just a way for, I like the way that, we set the tone. We were out there ready to go and do what we need to do to, prepare our minds and play the game. So, and then second half, they came out, they were fired up, yelling and screaming and shouting and all that kind of good stuff. So again, the team needs to continue doing what they do, warm up. So I kind of like that schedule and just making sure that they're regimented and they have enough time to prepare and get ready for the contest at hand. Any last words, Coach? As always, we'll give you opportunity to, bless the folks, bless the viewers with anything. So again, this is your time before we wrap up the show tonight.
No, I'm just not ready for this season to be over with. There's a lot of times throughout the year I'm like, man, when is the season going to end? Not last year, this year, but other schools. I'm like, I'm ready for the season to go. I'm ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas to come and, do it again next year. But this year, I really don't want the season to end. And I really do feel like we got something special. The parents were amazing last week. If we can get more people out, like I said, the kids really feed off the energy. We had a good, nice little crowd early when the kids were warming up. A little different than the first round where it's a little bit quiet. It's a little bit more upbeat this time. So I know Eagle Rock's going to be rocking with their crowd. So we need as many people out there as possible, really giving us a lot of energy and being loud and stomping feet. And, we're going to have heaters out there, so it'll be warm for a few people in the crowd. So, the more you move around, the more noise you make, the warmer you'll be. So continue to come out and support us. And hopefully we get another game next week at Birmingham, 7 p.m. for the trophy.
There you go. That's what, and I remember the last time we were there. Eagle Rock does bring it. They have an awesome, awesome fan support. So come on out. Let's come on out. Let's leave the Palisades. Let's leave LA. Let's leave wherever, your son is, resides. Come on out. Let's have some fun. And, I was talking to my son. I was talking to Side the other night. He was just like, man, number 2, the jersey number 2, he's talking about Max. He's like, it's kind of loose on him a little bit. I was like, hey, he doing what he doing, right? He's catching touchdown passes. And I remember the night that they lost, they got booted out. And so he was a junior and, just all of those emotions, because now we got to go back. And I'm like, oh man, folks asking me, where are they? Well, they're just right off the 110, not too far, down kind of through the way a little bit. But no, we want everyone to come out, and we want the opposite of what happened in 2018. We want to go ahead and be victorious in this wonderful, wonderful situation. You got to dress warm. I know now. I know from last week in North Hollywood what I need to wear this coming Friday. So I'm going to be much warmer. I'm going to be ready. And I might have to get me a couple of dozen of those hand warmers because they do come in handy, especially when I'm out there trying to hold the camera and the monopod and all this other stuff. So come on out, support. We're going to have a wonderful time. Coach, hang tight, and I'll just wrap up the show. And then we'll come back and chop it up afterwards. All right. Appreciate you hopping on.
That's good. Thank you.
All right, guys. So just another wonderful, wonderful time spent with Coach Dylen Smith, man. Just trying to make sure our boys have what they need. And it looks like he has the game plan for them to be successful this coming Friday. So we want everyone to come on out to Eagle Rock High School and support our guys on the field. And then also, I believe the cheerleaders are going to be there. Cheerleaders were there making noise. My daughter, I think she got sick because she was hooting and hollering and just having fun. So, yeah, come on out, support. This is a very, very important football game because we want to advance to the championship, and that way we can have an opportunity to play, for the Division I title. It will be the first time, if we win, the first time that Pali has gotten such love and earned a ring or a title or a banner, whatever the case you might call it, championship, which is what we're trying to accomplish. So we have one team in our way, one game season. We're focused right now on Eagle Rock. So come on out this coming Friday at Eagle Rock High School. It's going down at 7:00. So again, I appreciate Coach Smith and what he's doing for the boys and the rest of the coaches and what they do to help instill fundamentals on the football field, and hopefully it's going to pay off in life off the football field as well. Other than that, I appreciate you guys hopping on and watching, listening. Do us a favor. If you happen to be watching the replay, go ahead and drop in hashtag replay squad. That way we know that some of our folks who are supporters of This Week in Pali Football have watched the podcast. And other than that, we just want you to have a wonderful week. Be safe. And this is Mr. Riley coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side. We thank you for hopping on, and we will catch you in the next video. Peace out. Oh, and as always, go Pali.